Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's, well, either a product team's best friend or its worst enemy, the product roadmap. We're going to figure out how to build one that actually works, one that gets everyone on the same page and really drives results.
So, you know the feeling, right? Your engineering team is heads down shipping features like crazy. Marketing's got campaigns running. But then leadership comes in and asks, hey, what are we actually building here and why? It's that classic disconnect, that chaos, and it usually boils down to a failure of alignment. That's exactly the problem a good roadmap is supposed to fix.
Okay, so what is a product roadmap really? Because here's what it's not. It's not just a long list of tasks. It's not a release schedule with a bunch of dates. A better way to think about it is like a strategic compass. Its whole job is to communicate the why behind what you're building. It's the document that connects your product vision to the company's grand strategy, making sure everyone, from the CEO right down to the newest developer, is rowing in the exact same direction.
And this right here, this is probably the biggest trap people fall into. They mix up a product roadmap with a project plan, but they are totally different things. Your roadmap is all about the strategic why. The project plan? That's the nitty-gritty tactical how. The specific tasks, the timelines, the dependencies. When you blur those lines, you get into real trouble. You start focusing on just hitting dates on a calendar instead of, actually achieving your goals.
Which brings us to a kind of counterintuitive point about roadmaps. You don't start with the roadmap. I know, it sounds weird, right? But it's actually one of the last things you should create. Why? Because it has to be built on top of a really solid strategic foundation.
And I absolutely love this metaphor from the source material. It calls the roadmap the cherry on top of the delicious, creamy cake. It's perfect, isn't it? The roadmap is that beautiful, final piece that everyone sees and admires. But the real substance, the cake itself, that's all the hard, deep, strategic work that you have to do before you even think about that cherry.
So, what's the recipe for that cake? Well, step one is getting deep into your customer's world and truly understanding their problems. Once you've got that, then you can define a really clear product vision and set some measurable goals. And only then, once you know exactly where you're going, can you finally build the roadmap that shows everyone else how you're going to get there.
All right, so you've done the heavy lifting. You've baked the strategic cake. Now, what actually goes into a modern, effective roadmap? Let's break down its core anatomy.
The best roadmaps are actually pretty simple. They focus on just 3 core components. First up, you've got your product vision. Think of it as your North Star, always guiding you. Second, your product goals. These are the specific outcomes you're trying to achieve, and yeah, they're often framed as OKRs. And third, timeframes. But hold on, because it's probably not what you're thinking.
And this is a really, really important point. A modern roadmap is not a Gantt chart. Let me say that again. It is not a Gantt chart. It's not a blood oath promise that you'll deliver specific features on specific dates. The moment you commit to these super rigid deadlines, months or even years out, well, you create this false sense of certainty. And worse, you completely kill your team's ability to learn and adapt to what's really happening.
So, what do you do instead of hard dates? Well, most modern product teams use these awesome, flexible time horizons. Things like now, next, and later. It's simple, right? Now is the stuff we're working on, well, now. Next is what's in the queue. It's on deck. And later is for all those great ideas that are a bit further out. It's such a smart way to manage everyone's expectations while still giving your team the breathing room they need to adjust as they learn.
Okay, so knowing what to include is half the battle. But honestly, knowing what to leave out is just as important. So let's talk about some of the most common pitfalls, the mistakes that can turn your amazing strategic tool into a major source of friction for everyone.
Yeah, these are the big ones, the classics. Mistake number 1, your roadmap becomes just a laundry list of features instead of focusing on the actual customer problems you're trying to solve. Big difference. Number 2, jamming it full of way too much detail. Look, that's what other docs are for. And finally, the big one, the real trust killer, overcommitting. A roadmap needs to be ambitious, for sure, but it also has to be grounded in reality.
So once you've built this solid, outcome-focused roadmap, its most important job becomes communication. But here's the pro tip, the secret sauce. One size does not fit all. You can't just show the same version of the roadmap to everybody. You have to tailor the message specifically for your audience.
The core idea here is really simple. You have one single strategy, one source of truth, but you present it through different lenses or different views. This way, every single stakeholder gets exactly the information that's relevant to them, and they don't get bogged down by all the stuff they don't need to worry about.
Let's take your executive team, for example. What do they care about? The big picture, the bottom line. They need to see how your product work connects directly to business goals. So for them, you're going to highlight the high-level OKRs and those broad timeframes we talked about.
Now, flip over to your customers. The conversation is totally different, isn't it? They couldn't care less about your internal OKRs. They just want to know one thing: what's in it for me? So for them, you're going to talk about the upcoming value they'll get, the new things they'll be able to do. And of course, you'll always include a little disclaimer that, hey, plans can and do change.
And last but not least, your delivery team, the engineers, the designers, the people actually building the thing. For them, the roadmap is all about context. It's the bridge that connects their day-to-day work to that big why we keep talking about. It clarifies the objectives and themes that guide everything they do. See, it's one strategy, just told in 3 different, powerful ways.
So, when you get right down to it, it all boils down to this one simple question. Is your roadmap a map, or is it a compass? Is it a rigid, step-by-step set of directions that's going to fall apart the second you hit an unexpected detour? Or is it a compass, a tool that constantly points your team toward that true north, your vision, giving them the guidance and the freedom they need to navigate the messy, unpredictable, and awesome journey of building something truly great?